Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my first ever podcast. Trying this out for the first time. Can't wait to bring you this. We are going to talk about the college football playoff championship game. Cannot wait to talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about the NFL playoffs, and I'm going to make my playoff predictions today. So let's start off with the college football playoff championship for the national championship. The LSU Tigers versus the Clemson Tigers. Tigers versus Tigers. One huge difference is they are playing in Louisiana, about 2 hours from LSU campus. So I have a feeling that LSU is going to be heavily fan favorite there. There's going to be a lot of fans there for LSU. LSU is a 5.5 point favorite. So if I was a betting man, I'd actually probably pick Clemson in this game. I have a feeling it's going to be a very, very close game, and both teams are going to try their hardest. But I think Clemson will make it close. But I think LSU will win by 3 points, about a field goal. It's going to be a very fun game to watch, and I'm very excited to watch that game. All right, so that's a pretty fun game. I think another huge thing for LSU, as we already talked about, is the home field advantage. In New Orleans, there's going to be LSU stuff everywhere on Bourbon Street, all around the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. So we're really excited for that game. I'm excited to watch it. It's going to be a heck of a college football game. Now, let's talk about the NFL playoffs. For me, the playoffs start tomorrow, so I'm really excited for the wild card game. And for that stuff, so let's talk about first game we're going to talk about we're starting the AFC side here. Tennessee versus New England. New England is a 5.5 point favorite. Now, my inner fandom of the NFL wants Tennessee to win, but Tom Brady is still Tom Brady in the playoffs, and Tom Brady's a heck of a quarterback. He is getting older and will probably retire soon, but I'm going to have to pick Tom Brady in the Patriots here. I think they'll win by about 10, so that's going to advance them to the next seed to play Baltimore. Oh boy, that could be a good rematch. Now, in the other wild card game we have is the Buffalo Bills versus the Houston Texans. The Texans somehow always make the playoffs, but then don't do well in the playoffs. So I'm going to pick the Buffalo Bills here, and I think they'll advance. But the Houston Texans are a 3 point favorite. I would still pick Buffalo there. I think Buffalo will pull that one out, even though it's in Houston. So let's go back over to the NFC side now here. Minnesota versus New Orleans. New Orleans is a 7.5 point favorite. It is in the Superdome. Trust me, New Orleans is going to beat Minnesota because the Minneapolis Miracle and all that stuff. It's a rematch game, and Sean Payton is going to take this one seriously no matter what the score is. He's going to just keep on destroying them because all the players will have in the back of their mind the Minneapolis Miracle. So I think that the Saints are just going to plow over them, and they're going to face the number one seed, the San Francisco 49ers. Now let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The Seahawks are a 1.5 point favorite right now. That's a little too small for me. I'd definitely bet on the Seahawks for sure. I think they're going to destroy them. Philly just made the playoffs. They NFC least this year. The Cowboys almost took it. It's a rough year for that division, and I feel like it's just not their year. It's not the Eagles' year. They got the Super Bowl a few years ago. This is not their year. So we're going to move on now to the second games that I predicted. Now, these aren't officially going to happen, but this is what I think is going to play out here. The New England Patriots versus the Baltimore Ravens. Rematch, Tom Brady versus Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, is the MVP this year. No one has beat him, but we will see how that happens and see how that turns out. I think Lamar Jackson will become the MVP. So Baltimore versus New England. I'm definitely going to pick the Baltimore Ravens here. I think Lamar Jackson is going to lead his team to victory again, and it's in Baltimore this time, so it'll be exciting. But Tom Brady could pull it out. You never know. That's going to be a really exciting game. Buffalo Bills, which I thought would win this game, versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, no one's beaten Kansas City in Kansas City. I know they lost the AFC Championship game last year against the New England Patriots in Kansas City, but that was a tough, hard-fought game. Lost barely at the end. If that defensive lineman was not offside, the Chiefs might have won that game. We never know. So I think the Chiefs are going to win this game to advance to the AFC Championship again in Baltimore, which that will be really, really exciting. Now let's talk about the NFC side here. The New Orleans Saints versus the San Francisco 49ers. Oh my goodness, these both teams played each other earlier on the season. Great game. This game is going to be in San Francisco, so you know what? But I have a feeling that the Saints somehow pull this one off. So I'm going to pick the Saints here, and that's going to be a heck of a game. These divisional games will be very good and super fun to watch. So now the Seattle Seahawks versus the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers is a number 2 seed this year, and they'll play this game at Green Bay. Seattle and Green Bay have had some really good games before, so I'm very excited to see this game and very excited to see how this game goes. I'm going to pick the Green Bay Packers to beat the Seattle Seahawks, but this is going to be a really close game. I enjoy watching the Packers and the Seahawks. Seahawks just picked up Marshawn Lynch, had to put him in because all of the hurt running backs, so they had to bring another guy in, and why other than not than Beast Mode? You know, everyone's super excited to see Beast Mode back. So I'm going to pick the Green Bay Packers, though, and I think it's going to be that. So now, NFC Championship and AFC Championship games. Winner goes to the Super Bowl. I have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens, the 1 versus 2. Oh, man, that's close. But I really think this could possibly happen here, especially for the Baltimore side here. The AFC, both teams are really good. It's going to be played in Baltimore. And I'm going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to be a bit of a homer here, but you know what? Both teams are really good. Lamar Jackson had one of his losses to the Chiefs this year, and I think Patrick Mahomes, this is his year. He doesn't have to go through Tom Brady, hopefully, because Baltimore will beat him. So I think that the Chiefs are finally going to make that Super Bowl, and the choke, all the people saying that they choke in the playoffs can finally move on from that and move on to another whole life of Chiefs football. Chiefs Kingdom has been waiting for this, so hopefully they get that there. If the Ravens make it, though, it's still a heck of a game. It's going to be another good game, and I cannot wait to see what happens there. All right. The New Orleans Saints versus the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship game. My NFC Championship game here, and I'm going to pick the New Orleans Saints. I think the Saints are going to come back this year and make it to the Super Bowl finally. Not going to have the refs get in their way for 2 years in a row. This is not the year the refs screw things up for them. So I am picking the New Orleans Saints to make it to the Super Bowl in Miami. Going to be a heck of a game. The Super Bowl now. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the New Orleans Saints in Miami. And the winner that pulls it off is New Orleans Saints. I think the Saints are going to get another Super Bowl this year. I think it will be a hard-fought battle between Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is going to have to play really hard. But in the end, I think that offense, Drew Brees, is just going to tear apart that Chiefs defense. It's going to be amazing to see what happens. But in my opinion, I just think the Chiefs defense isn't a good match for Drew Brees and his offense. It will be awesome to see. Drew Brees has been breaking records left and right. So I'm very excited to see this game. But I think your Super Bowl champion 2020 is the New England Saints. Now let's talk about a bit about what's been going on in the offseason for the teams that are already done. The biggest headline so far is the Dallas Cowboys fired Jason Garrett. Well, not fired, but moved on from him. Did not renew his contract. So basically fired. A lot of Cowboys fans are excited. We all saw this coming. We all knew it was going to happen. We didn't know when or where, and we actually thought it took a little bit longer than usual. I think that Jason Garrett should have been fired immediately after, give him a day, pack up his stuff. He knew it was coming. They all knew it was coming. Just Jerry Jones didn't know when to do it, and it got more talk about the Cowboys, which Jerry Jones loves. Now, who do they hire? Who do they hire? In my opinion, I think it's going to be Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley from the Oklahoma Sooners, of course, and the reason why Lincoln Riley leaves or possibly goes to the Cowboys is because Jerry Jones is going to give him a contract he can't refuse. He is loving life there at Oklahoma, but money doesn't lie. The money is amazing. So that's why I'm going to think that Lincoln Riley will leave college football to go to the NFL and coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Is that going to be a good pick? Who knows? You never know in the college football, the transition from college football to the NFL. And we'll have to see what happens there, but I think that's how it's going to play out. And the thing is, the Cowboys, might, I don't know how this would happen. I don't think it would because Jerry Jones is too big headed, but Jerry Jones might have to step down from the general manager if this doesn't work out. Jerry Jones needs to realize he needs to be a better owner. Work better as an owner and move away from that stuff so you're not so attached to people like you were Jason Garrett. If you let a GM handle that stuff, you're not as attached to the game. Now, of course, you have Jerry World and you built this fandom dynamic duo. You have this place. You have Jerry World. They call it Jerry World for a reason. You've made the Cowboys who they are today. You've started and just got them to Super Bowls. You get them talking each year, and you have all those fans all around the world. So I think you have to step down if this doesn't work. Let someone else take those responsibilities, and you focus on just being an owner and kicking back and relaxing. That's what a lot of owners do, and you're just busy, busy, busy nonstop. Another thing I'd like to talk about is the Cleveland Browns. Oh boy, have the Cleveland Browns been an upset this year? Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield on this team, and everyone thought they could possibly even make the playoffs this year, and that they could maybe even make the Super Bowl. They were actually in the top 5 in the preseason rankings of making the Super Bowl. That obviously did not happen. Freddie Kitchens did not know how to handle that team, did not know what to do with the team, did not know what to do with his talent. So Freddie Kitchens obviously got fired, and they're moving on. So it'll be interesting to see who they pick, what they do. And I'm very excited to see what happens and what moves on from there. That is really all the big things coming from NFL. And let's talk a little bit right now, since I'm in Wichita area, about the Wichita State Shockers men's basketball team. Boy, what a start to this season. The Shockers have been kicking off and doing a great job. Only one loss to a West Virginia team who just upsetted Ohio State, the number 2 seed in the nation. So that's a pretty good loss. And also, it's not a rough year so far. We've played some hard teams in Ohio. No, I'm sorry, not Ohio State, Oklahoma State, OU, and we did play West Virginia and lose to them. We also played. I just went blank there, but we played a lot of good people, and it's awesome to see how they've done. And I can't wait to see. We have a matchup coming up next Thursday. Wichita State is going to face Memphis, and they're blacking out Charles Koch Arena. It's going to be super exciting and very fun to watch. So I cannot wait for that matchup, and very excited to see what happens there. I'm going to move on back to college football to my Notre Dame Fighting Irish, my favorite football team. And I'm going to talk about the bowl that we were in. I felt really bad for Iowa State. Everyone knew this was coming. Iowa State just got picked wrong, and they just didn't really have a chance this whole time. Brian Kelly wanted us to win to next year, get a top 10 preseason pick, start off the season well, to end the season with the bang. Only 2 losses being to a Michigan team who did lose to Alabama, but that's Alabama, and Georgia, who destroyed Baylor in the Cotton Bowl. So, it was pretty fun to watch, and we didn't lose to that many people. So it was a good season this year. Unfortunately, we did not make the college football playoff, but I'm not upset with the 2 losses we had. Sure, we got obliterated by Michigan. That wasn't the best, but it's going to happen. So Michigan is okay, and so Georgia was amazing this year. The only 2 losses they had was to LSU and Alabama, I think. I don't remember about that, but it was pretty fun to watch those games. The college football bowls this year were very interesting. I loved sitting and watching them, and just enjoying football. Football season is the best. This is the best time for football. Best time for a football fan like me to just sit down and enjoy these amazing games and just watch these teams go at it head to head. And it's amazing and a great time to watch. So, guys, this was my first podcast. We talked a little bit about basketball, a little bit about college football, and a little bit about the NFL playoffs. And, that's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait to make some more of these. I really enjoy talking sports. Sports is my passion. So that's it for this episode. Next time I'll maybe bring in some Cali College sports talk and stuff like that. Go Tigers. That's where I go to school. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day.